Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first part of a series that I'm going to start doing about basic build orders and openings here. I'm Buddha, and I am going to be basically just using this series to show everyone how to do very basic openings and how to open correctly. And of course, there's a lot of different styles for how to open with these very basic openings. But I'm going to show you basically how I do it and how I think you should play to play safe, and how to scout out exactly what's going to come out you from the opening that you could be against also. So we're going to go ahead and get this game started here. I am going to show everyone how to do a basic Forge Fast Expand today. I do mine a little different than a lot of people do. I know a lot of people like to play safe and go for that very fast 13 Forge, but I like to go Nexus first if I can. It's a little bit risky against 6 pools and stuff, but you know, you can always get away with it with good scouting and solid positioning if you know how to deal with that kind of stuff. So I'm going to be playing a game against Emerald Dom, one of my co-casters. He is helping me show this to everyone just as an example game. And yeah, we're just gonna go through this real quick. So first probe does go down to the natural at 9 supply, and we put our pylon down so that we can make our forge at the front. We don't use the pylon to wall off. The pylon is very prone to being baneling busted very easily, and it's going to allow us to make more buildings to connect our wall here to the nexus that's going to go down. So our first probe does come out, and something very important to note here is at the 1 minute and 15 second mark, you do want to send on this particular map, you do want to send one of your probes back to check for that overlord. I did see the overlord, so I knew that Emerald was close air positions, and my probe is going to scout around his base for that pool. As you can see, I'm chrono boosting my Nexus twice here. We are currently at 13, now 14 probes. And I'm going to see that he doesn't have a pool here, so that is going to prompt me to go to his natural. If a Zerg is going to 14 or 15 hatch, typically that is at around 2 minutes and 10 seconds or 2 minutes and 15 seconds. But Emerald has dropped a pool here, seeing that I was going to block his hatchery. So I am now at 15 supply, and at 16 I'm going to go ahead and take my probe down. I'm just going to scout for any probes hiding back here. I don't know why any probes would be hiding back there, but I just like to scout for proxies in general, even though you can't proxy anything back there against the Zerg player. So a little bit of a misstep perhaps by me, but you know, always good to be scouting around. I do throw my Nexus down at 16, and the reason for that is I saw that his pool went up late. I know that I delayed his hatchery. He put his pool down around the 2 minute mark because I saw that his pool wasn't up before that, and I immediately put my forge down afterwards without making another probe. And the reason for that, obviously, is his pool is going to finish up here, and he's going to start making at least a couple of lings, and I want to have that one cannon ready. So my second pylon is going to go behind my mineral line here, a little bit behind the gases. It's going to be a little bit to wall off, but also so I can get that second cannon over here, so I can defend a little bit better. Gateway is going to go down, so I can start my tech up a little bit. I added one probe on here. Just as this forge finishes up, I do have 150 minerals perfectly, and I am going to throw down that cannon. Meanwhile, I've been blocking Emerald's natural for quite a while with this probe. Going to run away from the Zerglings, going to take him on a little bit of a roundabout path so he doesn't come to my base right away. And he is going to get that hatchery down now. So our Nexus is almost complete here, so we are way ahead of the Zerg economically at the moment. And at this point, you really want to think about putting down that second cannon so your pylon doesn't get blocked off here. And I think I'm going to do that right now. Yeah, I do put down the second cannon right away, and that is going to cover both the backside of my mineral and gas line and this side of the Nexus from any kind of roach aggression. So I'm going to delay my Cybernetics core a little bit here because I did add on these 2 gases. I'm a little bit short on minerals. It's okay, though. And I'm sure it's going to go up in the next second here. Yeah. Alright, so around 5 minutes is when my Cybernetics score goes up here. I don't really have a definitive timing for this, but I do want to make sure that I wall off between the Nexus and the core. And I'm going to go ahead and use this probe to rescout. Very important to rescout. Around the 5 minute 30 second mark, you want to be in his base before 6 minutes to check for that all in. I didn't see him put that hatchery down, so I want to make sure he got it down and isn't trying to do a roach all in against me. So basically what my probe is going to do here is he is going to look at that the hatchery go up into the main, and I want to see what's he doing. He's getting Zergling speed. I can see it moving, and he saw his gas, and I saw that he wasn't mining anymore. So that tells me that there's not going to be any more aggression more than just pure Zergling aggression if he decides to do that, and it's highly unlikely because he had a pretty high drone count. So as you can see, after my gateway went down, I did take my 2 gases immediately, and it's very important because you can start Warp Gate tech and a sentry at the same time. Sentry is the most important units to hold off any form of all-in during this Forge Fast Expand. I had to get a tiny bit supply block here. It's okay though. And notice my Chrono Boost is pretty low, and as soon as this pylon pops, I'm sure I'm going to use more Chrono Boost on my probes here. It does go down on both Nexuses right away. And it's very important to get your probe count up. The reason you're going Nexus first is to get ahead in the economy game. And as you can see from the economy outlook here, we do have 36 probes to 28 drones. And Emerald, of course, losing drones because he's throwing down more tech, which he needs to do, taking his 4 gases very quickly. So that's a little bit of a peculiar play. Could lead to some sort of infestor play or something. But I am, in fact, just making more sentries here. And I added on a Twilight Council. This is kind of a variation. You can do whatever you want. You can grab Stargate. You can go 2 Stargate. You can go for a Robo. You can just add on a few more gates and expand again. Whatever you want, really. You just have to make sure that it flows correctly with your gas intake. So as you can see, I've taken my 3rd and 4th gases very quickly. I'm getting +1. I'm getting more sentries. And I've added on a couple more gates here, just very slowly. And basically how I'm going to transition out of this is, this particular game, I'm going to go for a 7-gate all-in. And my variation is different from a lot of people's, but I like to get around 10 sentries before pushing out at all. And what that allows you to do is really control the battles and force your opponent into situations that he doesn't want to be in. So I'm adding on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 gateways. I'm chrono boosting out +1, +2 will start right after that. I'm getting Blink, and the most important part of this build is, for the most part, you don't want Zealots. Zealots can be beaten by Roaches very, very easily, and you basically want to go Sentry Stalker if you're going to 7-gate like this. I recommend for most new players that are learning not to do a 7-gate, because it won't teach you the game as well if you're trying to macro in the late game and learn that kind of stuff. It is a very powerful all-in build, though. You can see I started +2 right away. I want to get those weapons upgrades out as quickly as possible. Adding on more and more sentries. I'm currently at a count of 9. And I'm assuming right now I'm probably going to go ahead and start making some stalkers instead. Alright, so as you can see, Emerald Dawn is ahead of me in supply, 75 to 64. Floating a lot of minerals, but while you're doing a 7-gate, as soon as you warp in 7 units, your money drops a lot. So the really important factors here are to make those pylons super early. You can see I'm way ahead on the supply total count as opposed to my current supply at 80 out of 92. That's going to allow me a full another warp in. I'm working 2 more pylons in at a time because you use 16 supply while you're 7-gating if you're making 2 probes and 7 sets of units, or 7 units. So here we have a big engagement. Emerald gets a pretty good surround, but as you can see, Force Field's going to be able to fight this off pretty easily because he can't get any surface area with his Zerglings. He did burn a lot of my energy, but I'm going to warp in a lot more units. And, you know, I saw he was making a lot of Zerglings, so that's probably going to prompt me to make more Zealots in the future. His Zerglings are coming back in, and I see that. I know I don't have a lot of Force Field energy, so I back myself into a corner. Don't get to cancel on that pylon because I'm terrible. And, yeah, you want to reduce as much surface area as possible against Zerglings. If you're against Roaches, however, you know, you want to force field half of their army off. And it's a completely different type of force field, but it's very easy to execute. But basically, I'm going to walk into Emerald Dawn's base right here and eventually kill him. I'm up 98 to 74 supply right now, and I have better production than he does. He's taking his 3rd base right now, but unfortunately isn't going to be able to spend anything in that scenario. So my Sentry Stalker Zealot mix is going to clean up here, and Emerald Dawn is going to have to GG out of this game in just a second. So thanks for watching. I hope that really helped you guys learn how to do a proper Forge Fast Expand. Please, if you're learning, don't do a 7-gate. This is probably a terrible example of an all-in build. Please try to macro, try to take your 3rd base, try to find ways to defend against it. And yeah, that is going to be the end of my Forged Fast Expand build order. Teaching how to scout, teaching how to do the build exactly. And you can of course, make your own variations, but remember, very important parts: scout a 2nd time for an all-in. You got to make sentries to hold an all-in, and you got to make sure that you're chrono boosting your probes out. And that is going to be it. So thanks a lot for watching. Hopefully you all got a lot out of that, and we will be back with the Midnight Blitz in just a few minutes.